Unemployment sure reeks, but has it peaked? Mate, ugly, ugly stuff with 5.2% of people unemployed in New Zealand. But of course, it could be worse. It could be 5.3 or 5.4.
You're spot on, mate. I mean, I bet the bankers and the economists are all hanging out down at the viaduct today as they will be sipping on their Dom Perignon, I believe is what they drink, because they are high rollers, and they've come in lower than what was forecast. They picked 5.3% of our working population, or I think it's 5.3 of the people that want to work, but it's actually 5.2 don't have jobs, which is not cool. It's sad.
No, I believe there's over 400,000 Kiwi people that would like to be doing some form of extra work.
Yeah.
Because unemployment seems to be one of those things that's quite tricky to measure. I was looking and I saw that if you're working 1 hour, you're not counted as unemployed. If you're not sending your CV around, you're not counted. You might be considered to be inactive. So you're not in those statistics. If you want more work but can't get it, you're not unemployed but underemployed. So I think the total basket of people that want more work 400,000 Kiwis, 12-point-something% want more.
Yes, and I did read somewhere that the rate of people that are looking and in that thing has grown 11%.
Ouch.
The number of people that have gone previously to that 400 has gone up 11%. Over 12 months can't be a quarterly growth. But in any case, 11% growth in the number of people that are seeking work but can't find it.
Well, I've got a joke, mate, and it's only for business owners. And so at this stage, if you're not a business owner and you're watching on YouTube, please put this on mute because you'll find this offensive. But business owners, you might get a giggle out of this one. And the question is basically, what would the unemployment rate be if SME business owners weren't too scared to let go of their shit performers that they don't actually want to have employed?
It'd be a lot higher.
But honestly, how many times do we speak to a business owner right now like, oh.
I've been talking with business owners recently and got out of Auckland. I won't say where for fear of giving away too much. And both the business owners that I spent time with on one particular day was we need to cut staff. And one of them, it was, in one case it was economic related in that they actually genuinely needed to downsize and do redundancies. And I'm like, well, okay, the lessons that we've learned over the last probably 18, 24 months is Kiwi business owners are shite at pulling the trigger sooner. They just want to carry the burden and in the hope that things are going to get better. And that hope is costing you on your salary and wages line, waiting for the sales to pick up. And then in the other one, the other client that I was sitting down talking with was, we've got some poor performers. We want to get rid of them. And I'm like, well, just start the process and pull the trigger. And they're like, yeah, but we can't because, it'll favour the employees. And we went into some discussion that will not be disclosed for fear of keyboard warriors and, probably claims from employees or whatever the case may be. But, needless to say, sick bags were reached for because, it just made a business owner feel really uncomfortable that they've got a divide in their workforce. And this is a business that's got a headcount of over 10 people full-time. So that's a lot of people by New Zealand standards. And to have 2 or 3 people out of that workforce that are what they would consider to be poor performers, you just tolerate it. And I was just like, well, what's the impact on the culture? If you ultimately do get rid of them, I bet you, Harry and Sally will pipe up and say, oh, gee, you know what, I wish you'd done that sooner because da-da-da-da-da, and you're just sitting back going, oh. But to your original point, for those that are tuning in to your joke, if they didn't mute, was if business owners were more brave and took action about tolerating the poor standards mediocrity, I reckon the unemployment rate would be significantly higher.
Yeah, to those business owners out there who are in that situation, even if you're not going to do anything about it, speak to an HR advisor to at least understand your situation.
Yeah.
Because that way you get a bit more in control of it and it becomes more of a agency decision. So you're making a decision not to do anything about it. We have a lot of people who we speak to where they have an issue and we say, have you sought advice? No, because I think I know what the outcome will be. Well, go and get that advice anyway. Find out what your options are. Take some control back of your mental rent that you're spending on this.
Yeah, go and get advice and don't be chicken about it. And if there's any employees that are listening to this, if you've got this far now, you can unmute and listen. Don't be, I was going to say the C word, but I won't, because I dived into it just to digress a little bit. Looked at one of our videos that you said we'd had a bit of engagement on, and I thought, I'll just cheekily have a look and scroll to the comments. I can now see why they say if you produce stuff, don't read the comments. We got told off for saying the F word.
Oh, frickin' would be better, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do have an older demographic on the old YouTube, you see. So
I'm surprised that there's the boomers reaching out on YouTube. I thought they would have still been on Radio New Zealand or Talkback.
They quite like the tube for some reason, or just our channel. I don't know what that is, how we've got there, because it doesn't represent our client base. But anyway.
Hey, look, we'll entertain anyone that's potentially bored and into some doom scrolling. But look, we'll take the feedback on board. Are we going to change? Fuck no.
Outstanding.
We will carry on. But I think to the employees, there's, in our experience in working with business owners and seeing it play out, and having been employees in the past, that if you're in that position, and you got to know, maybe some people are blind to the fact that they are just mediocre or below. But if you're ultimately going through a restructure, don't fight it, I think, and go through the process, and if you're smart enough to see the writing on the wall, accept it, but don't be the person that then goes, I'll go for the personal grievance, and then make it hard for your previous employer. You're ultimately having you as a labour unit freed up to go and find something better, because there is something better out there for you. You just can't see it right now. So take it for what it is and go. And I think remember that New Zealand is a really, really small economy. Somebody will know somebody who knows somebody that, and definitely in our industry, it'll be like, oh yeah, bloody Jimmy who used to work over at that big corporate place that had, 3 letters in its name, is now looking for a job. And I heard da-da-da about that. Oh, and then they did this. Okay, nah. And it impacts, I think, your ability to get a job in the future.
Well, let's get back to unemployment.
Yes.
And it's a lagging indicator, they say. So it's one of the last data points on the cycle of interest rates and inflation and GDP, etc. I guess the scary piece for that is, you would think that the worst is behind us, but there's now GDP data perhaps suggesting that no, the worst isn't behind us, and many people are expecting that the June quarter was a negative quarter. And based on those conversations that you were mentioning before, there are still business owners that are looking at their team and thinking, right size, as we've tried to tell people about for a long time now, and secondly, okay, what is our growth looking like in our next 12 months, and maybe do we persevere with these poor performers? We just can't continue on with them. So, yes or no, do you think that unemployment will be higher, will get higher than 5.2%?
Do I believe that it will get higher? Abso-freaking-lutely it will.
Yeah.
And I was reading that the government still believes that the unemployment rate will come down by the end of this year. That's 6 months away. Is it? No, less than 6 months. What are we now? August, September, October, November, December. 4 months to bring it down from 5.2. I call bullshit all day long. Old Lots on Luxon and what's her name? Willis. Growth. As we've talked about a fair bit, I think we're doing more to grow the New Zealand economy than those boffins down in Wellington. And from what I'm seeing, and then to your point about early indicators for the June quarter, and bear in mind we're now in the beginning of August, so the data's late. Stats NZ, waiting for you guys to tune into this and catch up. We should know what the number is. Negative 0.2, I think is what I've read. Don't know what you've come across.
Sheesh.
Yeah. So, and then on the back of that, what have we got? June to July, the September quarter, which we're in now, it's still feeling tight out there. It doesn't feel like it's got the pizzazz to it. And the powerhouse of the New Zealand economy, as much as I'd like to say it's rural, there's so much GDP that comes out of Auckland. And Auckland's unemployment is the highest at 6.1, I think it was. So there's a lot of Aucklanders out of work. And if Auckland contributes a fair amount to our GDP, we ain't going anywhere quickly. So the September quarter is going to be potentially flat or negative. 2 negative quarters. What do we get? Another recession. Thanks, National.
Another tip-top double dipper.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, 35% of the working population live in Auckland, and 6.1% of them are unemployed. I don't know what the underemployed is. It would be probably maybe 12, 15% of those people are probably looking for some other forms of work. Why do they want extra work? Well, probably for extra money. Why do they need extra money? Probably because of the cost of living. It is.
But it's not cheap, mate.
No, it is. It is ugly out there, and it doesn't look like it's going to turn quickly. But it's going to rely on SME and businesses to do it. It doesn't look like the government is stepping in, hiring a whole heap of new people. I think one of the things that we touched on in a podcast recently was why is New Zealand so shit at business?
Yep.
And that's what we called it, but really it was going through stats. And we've got an aging demographic of business owners, and they are least likely to export, to innovate, to invest, and to seek growth. So they're not going to be the ones to drag us out of this recession. If anything, they're going risk off. I can't be bothered. I'm not pushing any harder. Why would I risk hiring someone and growing and exporting and adding in a new product and moving to social media and selling online? Why would I do that when I can, get another rental or just, term deposit it for a little bit longer? So it's going to be fascinating with this grow stuff they talk about. Like, where is the growth actually going to come from? And I think it's going to have to be the younger businesses and the techies and the outliers, and maybe some of that ag space.
Well, in answer to your question, to just give it a bit more context, entertain me for a moment here on my theory, which I've shared with a number of people, and they kind of go, oh, that kind of makes sense. You think where we are at 5.2, and I don't think it's going to go down. I think we could see it go to 5.5, maybe a little bit higher, and then stay there before gradually coming back down. Now, we think where we are, New Zealand remains relatively flat through winter. We'll have our retail summer boom. That will impact youth and part-time workers. Come in and get your job, go and work at the dairy selling some ice cream, stack the shelves at the Woolies, then bugger off while it's all quiet. It'll be the Foursquare because they're all regional when everyone goes down to Pauanui. Foursquare there will be popping off, and shelves will need to be stacked with the fine Chardonnay from the Hawke's Bay that the lawyers like to drink. And they will button off. Then we get into the February, like, oh, we're back at work, some water cooler chat, oh, we better do something. And then what we're starting to see already is a lot of argy-bargy content between the red and the blues of the government. And then the mindset will switch on in March, April. We're 6 months out from the election. And we know from 3 years ago, no New Zealand businesses, SMEs, made massive decisions leading up to the election. One of the biggest decisions a New Zealand SME business would make, hiring somebody. And if we're leading up to an election cycle, we're not going to hire anyone. So unemployment is going to stay up at around 5% leading into an election.
Yeah, you've got a good point there too, because this is probably the first election we're going to go into for some time with a genuine discussion around a capital gains tax, from what it looks like. If there's no voting in the pre-polls that is going to be favourable, maybe they drop it, but you would assume that we're going to go to the polls with a decision around a capital gains tax. So I think that is a massive fundamental change to how everybody thinks and invests and whatnot. Anyway, so there's going to be I'll wait to see what happens.
Spot on. Then we get the post-election high because there'll be a change in government. There'll be a lolly scramble. There'll be money going around. Notice I did say change in government. My money's on red at the moment, $1 odds. You heard it here first. I don't even think the Great Hosk is calling it this far out. So if you're listening, chances are you're not. My needle's swinging left. But look, it could change. But I suspect unemployment will remain high because I'm not seeing the confidence amongst New Zealand SMEs to invest, that they've got the confidence in the New Zealand economy in the short term, so, like the next 12 months. So, yeah, I see it being high, which is, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, that is.
And sadly, I mean, you talk about, a capital gains tax. I'm a big fan, support it, depending on what it's going to look like. But every other recovery that this country's had, housing. We're waiting for housing to go up. Is that going to fix jobs? Fuck no. Like, I don't think it is. Like, you're going to feel good. House prices go up, and then you go, okay, I'll borrow more and then put that money into my business. Maybe. You'll probably buy a boat first. That's not going to create employment massively, I don't think.
Yeah, even I saw Mr. Hipkins explaining how we can't sell houses to each other to get rich. And like even now he's saying it.
Did he say that?
Yeah, speaking to people down in Queenstown, business owners. Yeah, so like even so you got both parties saying, oh, it can't be housing, it can't be housing.
Wow.
Like maybe housing's run its dash in terms of how we get the economy going.
Well, I have the answer. And I think we can dramatically impact our unemployment rate if all these people just pack their bags and go to Australia and then it becomes their problem.
Well, imagine what unemployment would be if they stayed.
Yeah.
But also their economy, from what I am vibing in the comments and the anger about Australia from some of the commentary that I'm seeing, is starting to slow down and cracks are appearing.
Yeah.
What happens when the Kiwis that sought that lifeboat, like they're going to be some of the first that go, sorry, brother, you got to get first off, mate.
Yep.
G'day.
Yep.
Here's your plane ticket. See you, cuz.
Well, I think it was about a month ago, maybe, they released their unemployment data. It was 4% the highest it's been in however long. And I'm just like, oh, that's interesting. Yeah. It's a certain amount of, I think, government jobs, not private sector. The private sector's still stonking along a little bit, so the government's shrinking. So the Kiwis going over the Gold Coast to do the scaffolding, you're safe for now. But if the government's contracting, that could flow through to the private sector in time.
I guarantee that these people that went over there for lifestyle and it's so much better, bro, honestly, like, fuck New Zealand, etc. It'll be, oh, nah, I just came back for family reasons, You know, like, oh, I just miss my family. Won't be like, oh, nah, I lost my job, actually. Oh, shit, maybe it wasn't as greener as I thought. But anyway, that's going to take time to play out.
And the cost of living will play out over there. And once the 12% compulsory superannuation kicks in coming out of your higher wages in Australia, how's that going to make you feel? New Zealand's not so bad after all.
Hey, the last time that unemployment was at 5.2% was September 2020. Hard to remember that far back, but that's a bit of an outlier because of COVID. But, you know, the last time it was then 5.2, 5.3 was December 2016. So a long time for people to think back to this sort of level. But also, I was thinking yesterday, isn't it crazy how so before the pandemic, you know, your September, your December 19, we're sitting at a 4.1% unemployment rate. So, you know, 5.2, it's not like it's astronomically higher, but it's still, you know, what would that be, 20% higher than what it was. But then it's funny, we had a global pandemic and we shut the entire country down and unemployment dropped into the threes. That probably should have been our warning sign of like, this doesn't make much sense. How come the economy is so frothy? But anyway, now we're going to pay the price.
Luke, it was that $66 billion that's been announced that got spent by the government. And it was spent on businesses that kept people employed, and it's now run out and they're out of jobs.
Scary, scary stuff.
Yep.
Prior to that, I think you've got to go right back to that 16 and 15, 14, 13 period.
7, 8.
Yeah, like 11, 12, 13. It was basically sat in the 5%-ish.
No way.
And 5 to 6 is like, it was pretty common for it to have a 5 or a 6.
What's just going to, like, have you read anywhere, you know how we've got a target OCR band of 2 to 3%? Have we got a target unemployment rate? I haven't read anywhere that it's like, oh, it's 5.3%. We want to get it down to 3.
Yeah, I think that's like anything in economics, there becomes a big argument about like what is the perfect number. But I was reading that apparently like a 5%-ish rate is kind of considered, oh, okay, that should ensure that an economy has a bit of flexibility and people aren't too, you know, oh, fuck it, I'll say whatever I want to my employer and what are they going to do about it? Maybe those things change as we've added in other rules where, you know, people are scared to let people go because of a personal grievance and whatnot. But, you know, there's also that fear of, oh, will I be able to hire somebody that's as good, if not better? So then we just accept the mediocrity. But, yeah, I don't know what that figure is, mate. But
no, I haven't read it because sometimes in the past I've seen, you know, oh, it's X percent and we're trying to get it down to Y percent to then go, well, if we know that there's some slack in our workforce of some 400,000 people, if we bring it down, how many hundreds of thousands of people do we need to find jobs for, essentially? And then what sectors are they going to be geographically in New Zealand? Where are they going to be? And I think that ultimately comes back to how do we practically bring the unemployment rate back down? And from my understanding, at least, is it's going to be led by growing GDP. And we're forecasting a negative growth this quarter. The the September quarter likely flat. Unemployment's not going to change anytime soon. So where are we looking? And I mean, ag's going well. Farmers heads down. We hear from the non-Auckland parts of the country seem to be smiling and dialing and living the dream. But as to when that flows up to Auckland, who knows? Technology is a big thing, AI is taking off, but is that ultimately going to create jobs and get people employed? Because it's very specialised. People are all scared, my business is implementing AI, so I might be out of a job.
Yeah, I think the risk of AI is that people can't even use technology to create jobs. How are we going to use the best technology to create even more? People are going to sit back and go, oh, poor me, how could this happen to me? And we'll actually go the other way where people will, a lot of people will end up unemployed. Or having to move around, and you've got to hope that business owners and entrepreneurs are leading from the front and creating jobs with it.
As much as I'd like to say we've solved or done our bit for the unemployment, we've hired somebody, but that hasn't solved unemployment. They've just moved jobs.
We've certainly helped a lot of business owners take on their first hire admin support, get going faster than what they perhaps would have. I actually think, and I bang on about this all the time, but I think we've got to stop telling people to apply for jobs. Like, that's the big problem. It's like, I saw a lady yesterday, I've applied for 100 jobs. If that was my daughter, I'd be like, love, do you want to apply for 101 or do you want to go and make some money? Like, what do you actually want to achieve here? Do you want a job or do you want an income?
The pain point's not enough, eh?
Well, I don't think it's that. I just don't think we've taught people that the economy's completely changed and we haven't given them the skills. So, like, you leave university and go, apply for as many jobs as you can, see how you go.
But they must have something there that's ticking them over, like welfare. So they go and apply for the jobs to get more. Oh, it's not there, so we'll just keep ticking along.
I just think there's people aren't putting two and two together. Like, if the jobs aren't there, stop applying for a job.
Yeah.
Go and mow some lawns. Go and go and service someone and find, you've got to go back to business skills and entrepreneurship. But that's where this argument's like, oh, not everybody can have a business. Well, not everyone can be an employee. No. Not everyone can be on the benefit.
And most people, I think a lot of people would struggle to go, oh, no, it's not that easy. And I'd go, well, have you tried?
Yeah.
Because you only need to look at the local community Facebook groups or the flyer drops in the letterboxes or people door knocking or just ringing up saying, hey, look, can I do this? Can I do that? And, hey, look, I'm prepared to do this. Problem, solution, solve, making money. And then all of a sudden and we talk about mowing the lawns.
Yep.
It's something as simple as that. And I think so many people go, well, I'm applying for a job that looks like this. Those jobs at the moment don't exist, but it's beneath me to go and do anything else because this is the world that I live in.
Yeah, and I actually, I think part of it is that they genuinely haven't put two and two together, like I said before, that, okay, the world's different to what I thought it could be. I just thought degree or I should apply for a job and I should be given one. There's so much entitlement. But the analogy I used in a Keep the Change podcast was if we went fishing and you were in the sea and someone's like, epic, I'll come fishing, and they brought a fly fishing rod and we're fly fishing, you'd be like, what are they doing? And this is what these job hunters are doing. They are fishing with the wrong equipment going, I'm not sure what's going on here. But there could be, their neighbour could have 20 grand worth of work for them to do. So I think people have to be resourceful and entrepreneurial when the jobs aren't there. And it's no different. This is what business owners have to figure out in a recession. When things slow down, it's like, shit, where is the money? Do we adapt? Do we do things differently? Look at what business owners had to do during COVID. All right, we're going to lock everything down. Shit. All of a sudden, people who were doing, just straight person-to-person trade, maybe I do need to do online trading. Maybe I have to adapt. And business owners are forced to adapt all the time. So perhaps it's time for employees to have a little bit of a wake-up call. It's not the only way to make money is via a job. Now, I get it, there'll be backlash of no, but nurses, but yeah, okay, that's a little bit different, right? But again, okay, could they be doing contract nursing? Could they move to a different region? Or they shouldn't have to move. Well, no, of course they shouldn't. But business owners shouldn't be forced to have to completely pivot their business in 24 hours, but we have to. It's just how it works. So the unemployment rate is 3% in Otago. I believe that they're screaming out for workers in the West Coast as well. Wow. Maybe you've got to have a season where you've got to relocate your family. Yeah. And a bit of short-term pain for the long term. We spoke to a business owner the other day. They've got nearly 20 staff. And they're like, oh, there's not much growth in New Zealand, so we're going to go set up in Australia and get that expansion going. And, we'll operate across both, but we're going to push for the growth over in Australia. Interestingly, then from the other side, speaking to someone the other day, they operate across both countries. Aussie is saying, it's you guys, like we're not going to have any growth, it's you guys need to push harder. And they're asking the New Zealand branch to deliver for the entire group. So,
Wow.
yeah, but again, like everybody has to adapt. And I think there's just so many people that are sitting on the sidelines being like, oh shit, I'm putting my rod in the lake, and it's
Putting
like,
my
there's no
fly
fish there.
fishing, yeah.
Yeah.
You're taking it down on the launch out in the Waitemata.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But we haven't taught these people. Wrong bloody pond, wrong tackle.
Yes. Improve your tackle, folks. That's the top
Top
takeaway.
tip. Top tip. Question for you, mate. How many clients or businesses genuinely now that we are June, July, or it would be 3 months, I think, from the budget, how many have genuinely rung you and be like, Phil, I'm going to get going on this project because of investment boost? Not a car, not a like a genuine, I'm going to buy an asset we wouldn't have brought.
Yeah, fuck all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can think of a couple.
Yeah.
But that's stuff that we've spoken about previously.
And I'm just shocked that where's these big announcements that I thought there was going to be big announcements from the big boys and National would go, told ya, but there's been crickets.
I think like investment boost isn't going to be the silver bullet, and I think investment boost is going to be a sticking point because it's not being communicated to properly to smaller. So it's got an economy of two sizes, right? In terms of smaller businesses, just looking at it for the vehicles, and shit, there's been people buying the Rangers. We know about that.
Yeah.
Those Ford dealers are busy. They'd be banking some bonuses. If you're looking for a job, maybe go to Ford.
We had a client this week, and they'll be watching this because they said, oh, please ignore what the car is that we're buying. This is where the Ranger gag is going so well that our clients are now saying, please ignore this.
That I think that the government did announce a $6 billion infrastructure plan where there's a number of projects that are going to get started by the end of the year. And we all know what get started means in infrastructure terms. It means fuck all. Like, it means a photo opportunity for some politicians standing there in their suits with their red bands on with a shovel turning the first sod while everybody else is back at the office still filling out the paperwork for council to sign off on. So I think that $6 billion of projects will be investment boost related, so that will then filter down to the companies. But I think the communication gap there of going, hey, look, we're doing this. It's going to go to your Fletchers and your Fulton Hogans and your Hibbs and whatever else these constructions companies are. They're not going to go, oh, yeah, we've got this, and it's all investment boost related. They're just going to go, we've got the money. Hey, thanks for spending with us because it's going to save some jobs. Let's go, go, go. The one thing I'm really fascinated to see on that will be what overseas capital comes in.
Yeah.
There have been some murmurs about stuff, and this is, that guy Luxon can talk, eh? He's a talker. I think he's all show and no go.
Sheesh.
Yeah, like growth. Like, put your money where your mouth is, and rather than starting to say, hey, look, we're doing this, or this is coming, there's an announcement. I mean, it's an announcement of an announcement, and there was a previous government that did that, and we know where that landed. And he's starting to follow in their footpaths. And it's just like, mate, like, get off the blimmin', the PR spin and just start and actually make shit happen because people are tired of waiting. And it's like, if there is stuff there, what New Zealanders, I think, are looking for is better leadership and direction of like, you know what, we are having a discussion with this company and they're going to be doing this and it's going to happen on this date and they got a budget of XYZ. That's going to breed confidence because it's going to show that there's actually genuine overseas money, new money, coming into this country to go and do stuff.
Yeah, I wonder if...
But what do we got? Sorry? Crickets.
Yeah.
Chirp, chirp, chirp.
You would think that there would be some announcements for them to go, okay, we told you it was a smart idea. But I wonder in the SME world, what would have been more or could be more appropriate is, righto, SME business owners, if you turn over less than $1 million, which is 85% of you, if you show us that you're investing into equipment, if you're investing into technology, AI, an apprentice, we're going to give you a tax deduction of 120% or even 150%. Something that, because I think, and data shows us, there's a lot of money like parked on the sidelines outside of business, but there'll be some solid business balance sheets out there too, where they just go, do I want to spend this money, or should I buy assets with it, like buy personal assets like shares or
Property.
Yeah, property, cool shit, even like Bitcoin and things like this, instead of going, but if I spend it on upgrading the equipment, implementing AI, implementing this technology. It's not only a normal tax deduction, but it is a speed up one, so it's incentivized. Now it's 120% of it, or because I've got if you take an an employee off of the benefit, there's actually a subsidy that you can get as an employer. Well, why not for the average person, mongrel in the street, as we like to say, who is like taking on their first employee, for instance. Okay, this is scary for you. Here's a tax speed deduction of like another 30%. And hey, if you ever do get a PG, well, that tax deduction almost like paid for it in time. Well, just to get the economy like growing in a different way.
We used to have that in the form of the 90-day rules.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the old days, where it would give employers with less than 20 employees, I believe, which was pretty much every SME, the ability to go out and hire someone and try it. And if it worked, great. If it didn't, see you later. But then that got repealed.
Yeah, I'm talking more of an actual tax incentive.
But I don't think it needs a tax incentive. I just think we need an environment that businesses have got confidence to be able to go, we've got certainty as to the future, so I'll take on more people. And then you can go, right, well, yeah, I'm prepared to take on you because I've got a hiring environment that's encouraging, that I can bring someone on. I don't need to be incentivized to do it because my business can stand on its own 2 feet. I can run the numbers, work, yep, it'll hire, because then the old other crew were just like, no, we roll bowl and asshole that. That got repealed, gone, and now the new crew have brought it back in again, but we're in an environment where there's no confidence. So people aren't going to hire. And I think even if there was a tax incentive, it'll take slack out of the economy, but it'll be fake because it's funded by government money, much like what the COVID data did.
Well, we know that these older business owners aren't implementing technology, aren't going online.
Are they not?
Yeah, aren't exporting and aren't innovating. So, we've got to do something about that. We've got to incentivize it because we've got an aging demographic of these people. But anyway, one thing that I spotted, mate, that is concerning, because it is Money Month this month, which you probably didn't know about, and no one probably did out there.
Started Money Month, so it started 1st of August. The only month I knew that it was is it's restaurant month for Auckland.
Really?
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Oh, restaurants in Auckland go and put on a whole heap of stuff, but everyone's unemployed, so no one's going to go and eat because they're at home having the beans and toast.
Ouch. Okay, well, Money Month, this year it's focused on an emergency fund.
Is it?
Getting your emergency fund sorted in an individual landscape.
Context.
But I think that business owners should be and could be thinking about this too, because often business situations merge over into the business, personal into the business. What do you think the percentage of people is that don't have a emergency fund?
Oh, 99. So I think I've read or I heard recently somewhere a percentage of people that couldn't get together $500 to get an emergency build pay. It was astronomically high.
Well, Sorted's data reckons that 44% of Kiwis don't have an emergency fund. So then you would think, okay, well, a decent proportion do. But I think what is dangerous is that these are people who are now probably going to need more work. But also, if you were asked, do you have an emergency fund? I reckon people would be like, yeah, I got a credit card. So then they'll vote like, yes, I do. So maybe
we're talking cash, people.
But I think a good reminder for all of us, individually, but even in our business, we did content years ago about the shit hits the fan account. And interestingly, from their data, basically if you do have a form of a emergency fund, recent research found that 65% of people who have an emergency savings fund felt confident about their future. So if we do have some funds stashed aside, whether individually or a business, we're probably going to operate from a more confident and stable position.
What I find kind of somewhat amusing about Sorted, which is it government backed?
Yep.
Doing their Money Month and focusing on an emergency fund is it comes across a little bit tone deaf. That we're in a cost of living crisis, unemployment's at its highest. How are people practically going to be able to put money together to put it into an emergency fund when we're at the bottom of the trough.
Yeah.
It's like that's what we should have been saying back when stuff was frothy. Hey, this stuff's not going to last forever. It is going to come back down. We got warned. Adrian, who's now out the back door, or warned us, a recession's coming. I'm doing the work to put you fuckers out of work. Like, this is his parting gift. Like, sorted should have been like, hey, Adrian Orr's saying this, and this is what it means. You should actually, this $66 billion that the government spent, you should take some of that and put it in a bank account, just in case.
Oh, do you remember the cost of living payments in 2022, I believe?
Oh, they made a huge difference, didn't they?
Well, they did for those who put them into Bitcoin because they're now worth 5 times more. So,
Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow.
So if you just put it aside, you'd have
Great
5
ROI
times.
there.
Yeah. Imagine, we talked about this on a pod a long time ago too, if we had smart people that invested for us as a nation rather than just pushing the money out. Hey, that 800 million that went out could now be 5 times that.
Wow.
And that could be subsidising some of these households. But no, instead we sprayed and walked away.
Sprayed and walked away. Thanks,
Yeah.
guys. What I would wonder is if Sorted are doing Money Month and saying emergency fund, is Nicola Willis getting this correspondence? And what's her emergency fund looking like for the government? Not for her personally, but what's the government emergency fund looking like?
Yeah, we don't really save for a rainy day anymore. I think the narrative needs to be louder that we're borrowing to pay the pension.
Yeah, and that was going to be the next thing. It's we've got capacity in our debt to GDP ratio. We're only at whatever the number is. We can go to 100%. We've got all this headroom to be able to borrow. It's like, come on, pull the other one. Yeah. But you're spot on there. Like,
we can't afford the pension, so we keep borrowing, so we keep going into more debt. We want to say, no, it's doing this other stuff, and we just park, as a portion of the budget. We're like, no, it's nothing to do with the pension, but it's our biggest cost, and we can't afford all of the expenses, so we need to keep taking on more debt. It doesn't really matter what it is that you're allegedly borrowing for. The budget is you're going over your budget.
It's going to be really interesting with the coming back to unemployment and with the government or Treasury forecasting employment now peaking and easing by the end of the year. That when they do I think they do a half-yearly fiscal update, and then there'll be a pre-budget and then a pre-election fiscal update. What does that unemployment percentage look like in their modelling? And then compare it back to what their previous modelling was when they did the budget and then all of the other shit talk that they typically do, and then go, you guys were wrong. Because I think when they did the budget back in May, they had unemployment coming down this year and steadily decreasing into next year. And then on the flip side of that, house pricing having astronomical growth. And I just looked at it and laughed.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they're all pretty quiet about that now and almost talking it down too. So you would expect that there shouldn't be high housing growth in the models.
And then it goes to think, well, how does the government continue to balance the books, which comes back to your point, because unemployment's going to remain high, which is a cost to the government with increased benefit payments. Housing isn't going to increase at the rate that it is. We don't have a capital gains tax. Mind you, if house prices are going up or down, it's not going to be a capital gains tax. But there's going to be no confidence in the economy. There's no confidence, there's no incomes, no tax. The revenues are lower, we're spending more, losses for the government. We've got to borrow. We're buggered.
Well, if you do have a job, you want to be very grateful that you do.
Yeah.
But obviously most people will be business owners listening to this. But 2026, I don't know, I get the hunch it's going to be better. I think that by the time we get there, we get through, like there's always like a bit of an excitement of like, oh, what's going to happen with the election? Because people have so much belief that the government will make their life better.
100%.
That there's going to be all of these people that will cling to a new lifeboat.
But it does look like there'll be the lolly scramble, and then come September, when I think the election is, and Labour comes in with their coalition of who knows what they want to call it, there will be a massive spray. Chris Hipkins and Chloe just out there. And everyone will be like, yeah.
Coalition of capital gains, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. and New Zealand will feel good. Like my view on 22, I think it's going to be relatively flat.
More of the same.
I'd like to be optimistic and think, yeah, it's going to be great. But I'm not seeing anything now from the discussions that I'm having with business owners that, we're going to spend $6 billion on infrastructure. That doesn't impact the average Kiwi.
Yeah.
Like for that to filter down and make a difference at the retail level where people are feeling wealthier, and that ultimately will then come back to house prices increasing, that takes so long. And I just think, yep, we get into the uncertain time of the election cycle and we just freeze. We're like possums in the headlights. Yeah. And then we'll get the change of government. I'm going to push that hard because it's going to wind up a lot of people. I think it's great. I just do it for lols. But, I mean, I'm happy to be proved wrong. We'll wait for the data to come out, the opinion polls and policies that impacts things. But I think at the present moment, there'll be a change.
There'll be a change, a one-term government.
Yeah, and it'll be fascinating to see a change of tact and fiscal policy coming through the country, and then what genuine impact that will have on our key data points like GDP and unemployment and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, we're in for a roller coaster. It's fun. It's fun.
Well, my call out to the business owners would be, if you are in a position to hire, then think about it. Like, it's going to be you guys that grow the economy.
Well, it's a great market to hire now, isn't it? Because there's a lot of people out there looking for work.
And it might be admin support, so you free up more of your time. It might even be that, it's 20 hours a week to start with, but there's somebody from that 400,000 that has got the extra work that they want. People are looking for more work.
The biggest pool of people in that unemployment thing is youth and low-skilled labour. And I think if you're a business owner and you're not sure but you're prepared to take a punt, take a young person. And if you've got the time and energy, invest into them. And I bet you'll get a massive return on investment from a young, hungry person that you're going to invest some time in. You'll get the payoff because, admittedly, you get lower rates. That's just the way capitalism works because they're unskilled. It's not that you're ripping them off or taking advantage of them. It's win-win. You're getting labour that's solving a problem in your business. They're learning skills. They're hungry. They'll work hard for it.
Well, unemployment sure does reek. Phil thinks it's going to increase from here. I think he might be right as well, but it means that there's a lot of people looking for work, and hopefully some of them are really good at what they do or willing to learn how to be good at what they do and have a good attitude. So maybe it's time for us business owners to go out and start employing them.